Hi, I'm Celia Wilson and welcome to our 5th Simple Projects video, where we're going to learn how to make teddy bears. So all you need is some fabric or fleece of your choice, a needle and thread or sewing machine, some standard sewing pins, permanent marker or fabric marker, scissors, a variety of buttons, some stuffing, and of course, your pattern, which you can download right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the pattern and cut it out on the outside edge. Here we go. All right, now that we've got that all cut out, we're going to get our fabric. To cut the fabric out, we're actually going to take each piece and put it right sides together. So whatever side you want to be on the outside is actually going to be on the inside for this. Lay your fabric flat on the table. Take your pattern and put it on top. You want to make sure that your pattern is on top of both layers, so there's no ears hanging off the edge of either piece. Then you're going to go ahead and pin it down. Once you've got it all pinned, you're going to trace around the edge of the bear onto the fleece or fabric with a permanent marker or a fabric marker. If you're working with little children, what you can do is actually take your pattern and glue it onto a piece of cardboard and cut that so it's the same shape as your pattern. Also, you can cut one out a little bit smaller on the sew line so the little kids can put that down, draw around that too so they have a line to exactly sew on. So I've got my bear all pinned nice and tight to both pieces of fleece. If you're working with little kids, it's a lot easier if you just take your pattern and glue it to a piece of cardboard that's the same shape. Then you don't have to worry about pinning. They can just put the piece of cardboard on the fabric and trace around that. Also, you can cut one a little bit smaller on the sew line. They can trace around that one as well, and they know exactly what line to sew on. Alright, now that I've got it all traced, I'm going to go ahead and remove the paper. I'm going to put my pins right back into this thing so that I don't lose any of them and no one ends up stepping on them later. That looks great. Alright, so I'm going to double check that both layers of fleece are together, that when I cut this foot out that's coming a little bit close to the edge, it gets cut in the other piece of fleece too and we're not missing any toes. So now I'm getting ready to cut. In order to ensure that the pieces of fleece don't move while I'm cutting, I'm going to go ahead and pin the two of them together using our standard fabric pins. That looks great. Here we go. If you want to deal with a piece of fabric or fleece that's a little bit smaller, you can cut around the bear before you actually cut the actual outline, just a rectangle so you don't have to deal with as much of the fabric. See, that's much easier to deal with. Alright, so I've got them all cut out and now I'm ready to sew. You want to sew at least 1/4 inch in, but make sure to follow your lines, because whatever line you sew is exactly what the shape of the bear will be. So now I've got him all stitched up and I've removed the pins. And as the pattern said, I left a hole between his arm and his leg. So before I can turn him inside out, I actually have to cut a little tiny slit at his neck, his ears, other side of his neck, under his arms, and between his legs. Just be very careful that you don't cut into the thread, because that will undo all of the sewing that you've done. Perfect. Now I can turn him inside out. I would suggest starting with the legs, but you can really do it in whatever way you want to. And voila! There's my bear. Alright, so now it's time to stuff him. So grab your stuffing and pull off little sections at a time. For this part, you want to start up in his head and work your way down. The way you determine how firm your bear is by how much stuffing you put in. Then you can work your way into his arms and down his body into his feet. Once you get to the part where the hole is, I would start stuffing his feet. All I have left to do now, that all of the stuffing is in, is to sew up the part where I had stuffing on. Like so. So now that he's all stuffed and stitched, what we can do now is decorate. You can add buttons for eyes or anywhere, some ribbon, or just draw on him. Have fun! And there you have it. Your bear is perfect. So what I'm going to do is actually take my bear to the local fire station or police station for kids who come in late at night and need someone to hold. I hope you take yours there too. Bye!